Lawrence from Roman Mosaic Workshops here again, and what we're going to look at today is cutting. What shapes are you going to cut when you're making a mosaic? So remember, we're talking about Roman mosaics here, large-scale mosaics. You do not you do not do small mosaics. It doesn't matter what actual size your mosaic is, you're always working as if you're working on a full floor. That way you get the chance to work on a full floor. You've already got the experience of doing it because your work practice should not be any different. And it's the same as when you come to cutting. So here, this is what we want. Up the top, you want your entire mosaic to be made out of square tesserae. Why? Because that's the fastest way to work. The more cutting you do, the more time it takes, which you want to avoid. So make your entire mosaic just using your square tesserae. Now, obviously, there's very few that you're going to be able to do that. You have maybe sort of 4, 5, 6 patterns that you can do that with. Everything else you're going to need to cut. So you want a very systematic way to look at that, particularly when you're getting irregular shapes cut. They should all be cut in this same process. So I've got a bit of a flow chart here. Now, if we bring that up, okay, let's start over here. From your square, you can do a half cut. There, obviously into your two rectangular pieces. Let's zip over to the other side here on the left. You've got a keystone. This is the one that you use on your curves. Triangle cuts on a curved line disrupt the line. So the Romans used these keystone cuts. So you can see here, just a small cut off either side, leaving a horizontal base there still. But you can see you have these slightly angled cuts on either side. Go into the center here if you need a triangle. Now, generally, you cut your square into half diagonally. You're going to get a right angle triangle, and that's most that you'll see there. There is also another one. You see the cut line here. Now, if we go down, that creates an isosceles triangle. There's a couple of different applications for these. I'll go through them in another video, but that's basically it. So what you want to do, make your mosaic nothing but squares. If you can't, use a flowchart like this for figuring out which ones you want to cut. Now, even if you're doing the last piece, filling in an area, you still go through this, because however irregular, however weirdly shaped the gap is, the spaces you've got to fill, you should be going through this. It will be a variation of one of these that will work. Generally, I say that if you have to make more than 4 cuts, throw the tesserae away, start again, because you're overthinking it. You'll just sit there and nibbling little bits off. You'll have a really indeterminate shape. So you want to use this, whatever the gap is that you've got to fill. It will be one of these or a variation of one of these. Thanks.